Hey YouTube, league turnover. It is the Hisui Cup and Open Great League. So I did top teams for Hisui Cup this morning, so you go check out that video. This one we're going to look at top teams that I used to run back up to the 28. I'm as of today 2850 something in the Great League this past week. So we'll go over those teams in a second. I'm going to go over the rankings, in particular Annihilape, because it's kind of funny. When Annihilape first comes out, you're going to get a bunch of content creators just hyping it up, right? You have to see this Pokemon in action. You got to use it. It's OP. It's meta. I can't put out videos as quick as others because I have a full-time job and 2 young kids. So I created a Beyond the Hype series to actually give you a full in-depth analysis of a new Pokemon, its strengths, its weaknesses, stuff like that. And I gave an analysis. It started at rank 8 or 10 on PVPoke when it first started out. And basically my analysis was it's a strong Pokemon. Its typing is something that carries it a lot. It's got decent bulk. Its defense is kind of weak, but it's got good stamina to offset that. So it's got okay bulk overall. Good, obviously, counter. Good second move, like close combat or shadow ball, both super high damage per energy, good outset. But it's kind of limited in its Night Slash Ice Punch. Kind of limited a bit. Ice Punch, Medi can get away with it because it has way more bulk, but this is kind of just eh. So it started at rank 8 to 10, and then when I did the video team with it, you're going to see here, it was down to rank 14, and now it is rank 16. So here's the top 20 rankings. Have not changed much, but again, Annihilape was 8 to 10, dropped to 14, and is now 16. Again, I think it is a good Pokemon. I just think that it was potentially overused at times and overhyped. But yeah, it's still a good Pokemon to use, and it's on one of my teams here. So speaking of teams, let's just start running through this. A team that I just put out yesterday, I'm going to go from yesterday back to a week ago. So most recent first is it's a balanced team, but it's also what I call the comfort team. So Whiscash, Sableye, and Charjabug. So 3 Pokemon that are all very meta, sort of dominant in their own way. Whiscash, I said, one of the best Pokemon in this meta with Scald. I think it's almost like Scald is kind of broken. Very safe, only weak to grass. Charjabug as a bug can deal with most grass for the most part. And then Sableye as your safe swap. But I called it comfort team because not only is this sort of a meta team, these are Pokemon that I have been using for a very, very long time. Charjabug got me to the finals run in Toronto. And Sableye's always been going to go-to safe swap, and then Whiscash, I've used it on and off over the seasons, but I just find this season Mud Bomb Scald is just so good to use. So again, balanced team there. Second team is Lantern, Skarmory, Annihilape. So again, this is just a very Skarmory Lantern core, right? Cover your grass weakness with Skarmory, cover your electric weakness with Lantern. The Mud Boy, it's usually a Swampert Skarmory core, because Swampert will actually resist electric as opposed to Lantern, which takes neutral. You can put in Whiscash, you can put in Swampert or Lantern, all 3 work just fine, quite honestly. I actually like Lantern because the trade-off, Skarmory's Steel Wing is resisted by water, right? So if you get a Mud Boy or Poliwrath or something like that, your Steel Wing is resisted, so you need to land the Sky Tiger Rebird. So if you see a Poliwrath, Lantern's better. If you see a Whiscash and stuff like that, then Swampert and Whiscash is better on the lead. And then I used Annihilape as a safe swap, but I used it with Night Slash. And personally, so when I did my first analysis, I said Shadow Ball, close combat, I'm indifferent about. I think Shadow Ball probably does provide you the coverage that you need with this Pokemon, so it's probably better. But I said, you know what? I don't like Ice Punch. I think Night Slash is the way to go. I know you have Ice Punch for coverage, but to have a Night Slash, which is quicker move, chance for boost, better damage per energy, it just seems like a no-brainer to me to run that move as opposed to Ice Punch. But again, to each their own. This one was a really fun one that worked very, very well. And it's sort of like an ABB-ish style team. You safe swap Dewgong to try and draw out a fighter, and then Defense Deoxys beats, and then Eradicate, double weak to fighting. But it's a sneaky one. I've always liked using it, especially in limited cups. It does really well. Open Great League gets a little tougher because you're double weak to fighting, and then just a lot of fighters out there. But I was thinking an uptick in Trevenant, Sableye. You have Lickitung on the lead, right? Which you are normal and dark, so you triple resist the licks. So it's a kind of sneaky one in the back for Pokemon that are usually Sableye, Lickitung hiding in the back. It's a nice answer to just kind of wall them. Plus, it's a very, very bulky Pokemon. So if you ever seen it, like go check out the video when I like was against, what was I against, like a Tropius, and survived like 2 Leaf Blades plus. Like it was definitely put in work. So sneaky Pokemon there. This one, I would kind of advise against this one because this is like what I call the super high risk, high reward team. Double electric, but your electric can be very, very, very easily punished because you only have electric and bug on these Pokemon, which means that if you safe swap a charge a bug and are hit with, it's not terrible if you get hit with a Gligar. It's a loss, but it's not terrible. It's terrible if you get hit with a Clodsire, because then like your moves are like double resisted, all of them, and you're just gonna like, that's a top left essentially. But if they don't have, and you're weak to fire in the back twos, but most fires you can like chip with charge a bug, and there's not a ton of fire in this meta. So you try and draw out a fighter, or sorry, you try and draw out a fire, or potentially a ground-ish Pokemon. Hopefully it's not Clodsire. Lose Azumarill beats, and then Togedemaru will just dominate in the back there, especially if you know how to use it properly, which I do. Speaking about Clodsire, Medi, Frostlass, Clodsire. So this is like kind of going into, I call this team like looking at Pokemon that were super strong in the meta before, but people are now like almost scared off of using. And Medi with Dynamic Punch, again, people were debating my comments. I have seen like, I've seen like, before it was like 70% middies on every team. Now I'm lucky to see 15% middies. And if you're looking at the Poliwrath versus Medi split, I bet you I see 20 Poliwrath for every Medi that I see. So I think Medi has just gone away, but it shouldn't. It's still so strong. I think people are sleeping on it. Clodsire, same thing. Clodsire has a little more reason to go away because of the uptick in Scald this season with Poliwrath and in particular Whiscash, which will cause you a lot of problems. So I think, and then the Gligar was a bit of an issue, but I put on Stone Edge to at least have an answer to Gligar. Like I don't think there's a reason to run Poison or Sludge Bomb and Earthquake, because then that just limits you against Gligar. So I think Stone Edge, Earthquake is the way to go with this Pokemon. But again, it's a very, very strong Pokemon, but people are scared because of all the water. And Frostlass is an interesting one. Frostlass is still always so dominant in limited metas and still kind of like and open. And it's sort of the same thing. I think it still has a lot of play in the open. It's just like you need to kind of have shields for it, and you can get pretty punished pretty hard. So it just depends on how you use it. Not that this is a balanced team. It's a kind of balanced team. Like Whiscash weak to grass, Dragonair will resist grass, and then Lickitung is your safe swap. Doesn't fully cover your cover your weakness style because Dragonair is weak to ice, and Whiscash will take neutral from it, and same thing, Dragonair is weak to fairy and it'll take neutral. So like a pure like covering your weakness would be like a steal instead of Whiscash. But again, Whiscash just seems too powerful. I actually call this team like a super safe, it's not a safe swap team, but it's like a super safe team because Lickitung, Whiscash, and Dragonair are all pretty solid in this meta. Like sure, you're going to have some punishes like a grass against Whiscash and all the things I mentioned against Dragonair, and then some fighters and stuff with Lickitung. But like outside of that, like if you look at their like matchup distribution, it's like all the sort of bad to like good matchups. There's a lot that fit in that range, and so I found all these like pretty safe and pretty good in this meta. Old school team like Registeel, Azumarill, Sableye. This is like a season like 1 or 2 team. And for good reason. Bulk, one of the old / best safe swaps in Sableye. Azumarill with the bubble buff this season. I've seen a significant increase, like how much better that bubble buff is to Azumarill. And then Registeel, again, Registeel is one of those Pokemon when Zapcannon got nerfed, it kind of went away. And again, with Whiscash everywhere and even Gligar everywhere, you don't have anything to throw. Like Registeel has kind of gone away, but again, it shouldn't. Like Medi, Registeel have gone away in the meta, but I think both are very, very strong in this meta and should not just be tossed aside like they have been. And another team, Phalanx, Jellicent, Ninetales. If you actually go watch the video, I talk about don't use Phalanx, just use like Medi. I tried to use like a fighter that's not in the top meta, so I used Phalanx, and it was like you get walled by Jellicent, you get walled by Gligar, you get walled by like 15 meta things. So just use Medi for coverage for your flyers and stuff. But then Jellicent and Ninetales, there aren't many, honestly, I'll go on record, there's not many Charmers in Great League right now. I've seen more Wigglies than I have Ninetales at this point. But again, Charm Ninetales is still very, very strong in this meta. And then Jellicent, Ghosts have not gone away completely. The issue is everyone's scared of Lickitung, right? We all know Lickitungs on a lot of the teams. So if you save swap a Ghost like Jellicent or Sableye or Trevenant, which would be a way riskier save swap, like you can get punished by all these like normal Pokemon. But outside of that, like Jellicent is very strong for what is the other meta, right? You have Gligar, which you can throw a Super Effective Surus. You have, if you see Meta, you have that. If you go against the Zoomerl, you can beat it because you resist all the bubbles. And like it's overall a pretty strong Pokemon to use. So that's it. I'll probably split. Like I still have, because of the Go Battle Week, I actually still have like 3 more teams from the Great League from this past week. So I can still showcase those this week. So I'll do those 3 mixed with obviously the Hisui Cup, which I'm going to start and do my first team tomorrow because I got a team I want to run for that. So go check out that video for top teams. And that is it. So I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.